Hi everyone, just getting on early to make sure that we're up and running. Hi everyone, I'm early, but it doesn't matter. We're just so we can get people on before I start, and I can explain what I'm actually using as well. Make slight adjusties as well. Guess more like it. Morning everyone. Hiya Christine. There we go. So you may get glimpses of my shorts or the white shelf. Let's bring it down a little bit. And then we can get it closer. So if you're on, if you just type hello, and then we can sort of get going. Hi Susan, how are you? Yes, it is a good way of using the coins, and I'm actually doing a two-tonal one today as well, so I'm actually changing one of these out as well. Hello Gavin, how are you? So yeah, so this outer bit is going to be in green, and then this inner circly bit is going to be in the white with the black stamping and embossing. So if you're on, please type hello so I know who's watching. So we are a little bit early, but that's so that we can get everybody on before I start. Yeah, I didn't until I made this card, Susan, about the two-tone, and I thought, oh, it'll look nice if we had a white ring in there as well, so that's why I'm doing that today. Good afternoon, Donna. How are you today? Hope everybody is okay. The wind is starting to pick up around here, but the sun is still lovely and shiny. And just wait for a few more people to come on. And hope everybody's got a little bit of nice weather with them. There is a link at the bottom of the comments box that Gavin have posted for the Valley Craft, and the products I'm using today will all be in there as well, so that'll take you to our website. And yeah, so and this is the card I'm actually going to be doing with a slight little difference, so I'll bring it up and show you this sort of sparkly glitter on it as well. So I've used a matte mirror in the center. I've used red glitter on these little berry branches. I've also used some sparkly glitter on the trees, which you can just see. But there now, whoa, it's very, very nice. So what's the time? So another minute and then it's 2 o'clock and then we'll start going. So if you're watching, just type hello so I know you're watching, and then I can say hello back. And I'll say good afternoon again. I'm gonna we're also going to use a different card today as well, because Gavin actually asked Phil Martin at Sentimentally Yours if we could send a couple of sample pieces of the card that Phil uses with his watercolors and stamping. So I've actually pre-done some out of the sheet, so I'm gonna give that a go and let you know what that is like. So compared to our super smooth, so super smooth is white, and the watercolor is a little bit more creamy, as you can see, but when it's on your trees and stuff, you know, you're not going to really see much of a difference, okay, because you're going to be colouring a lot of stuff. So yeah, so it is nice and smooth as well. So unlike your other watercolour cards, which are quite rough, this is quite a nice one. Hello Deborah, afternoon to you. So it's gone 2 o'clock, so I think we'll make a start on showing how to make this card. Just to show you as well, I have actually done the centre using the sort of 3 matte layers and a nice little sentiment as well in there. And these are new to the shop, so we've only had these in yesterday. So I'm going to continue on from there now. Okay. So first thing I need to do with this card is to take a scoreboard. I have got a Crafter's Companion one as well, but I'm going to use this one today. And I'm taking an A4 piece of card and I'm putting a landscape on my scoreboard and scoring it 15, and that's with it all the way to the left. So I'm scoring it 15. You can flip it over and score it both sides, which breaks the... Hi Bev! So that is now an A4 piece of card, fold it in half to make an A5 card. If you have A5 cards and envelopes, that will do as well. So now that is my card base, and it's bigger on the front than it is on the back, and that is how a professional card should be. So our next stage is to bring that photo in, that card, and the first thing we're going to do is sort out these 2 little background bits and this circle. Okay, so this is the coin, and the one I'm using is the Sentiment Medallion Wrap Snowflakes. Okay, but you can use, there's 2 of these, so you could use any of them. So how to do that? We need a sheet of nice colour card, which I got one from the Candy Christmas Stars and Snow from the Phil Martin Sentimentally Yours. There's 40 A4 sheets in here, 4 designs, 5 colours, and they're on 190 grams, so it's a good grammage. And I'm actually using the striped green, tealy sort of green, and then I'm using a matte mirror A4 piece as well, and this is in the teal version as well, so it goes nice and well with these 2. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is bring in my trimmer. Okay, and for the front of the card we need to bring this trimmer in. Got a little bit of tape in here for some reason. Oh well. I need to cut it to 14.5 centimeters, so I work in centimeters. Yeah, it is very nice. I do like it. Lovely. I love the matte mirror because you get that sheen, but it's not a mirror that goes in your face. So this is 14.5 centimeters by 20.5 centimeters, and that would fit the front of our card nicely. And I've just changed it up a little bit because I'm actually going to put a little white border around it today as well. So little things that I've changed as I've been going. And then out of the colour piece of card, I'm going to cut a piece landscape again, 14 centimeters by 20 centimeters, and that will matting layer onto the piece I just cut there. So that's that piece. And then these pieces that are left over I will put to the side ready for matting layering onto the inside of the card. But the first thing we now need to do so I've got these two. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is to take the die that actually cut this outer line of the teal, which is the circle there. I need to take that die, which it's all part of the Crafts 2 ones. I haven't got the Phil Martin circle ones, so I'm using Crafts 2, and that is the largest one there. So what I'm going to do with that one is place it on there, a little bit up a bit, and I'm going to cut that there. Okay, so there's a little bit from the top and a little bit from the sides. And when we cut that out and put this on, we won't actually see it, so we're actually going to use what would actually be covered normally. Okay, and we're going to die cut that. So again, depends on your machine. I'm just using the Grand Caliber for my simple cutting today. So white plate, grey plate, and I'm going to put that through the Grand Caliber. Okay. And that is my circle there. So now that circle becomes the circle for that image there. Okay, which we will be putting the coin design along top. And that's that bit die finished with. So I can pop that back into his pot. And I'm taking one size die down from that one, which is the next size down. And this one will be cut. Because that cuts out of there. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut that out of there as well. And that's all I'm making sure is now is that the card here which I'm going to face over there, and I'll put this onto the brown table so you can see it better. So basically I'm flipping the teal piece over. I'm going to put my colour piece over the back of that, and you could tape this now into place with a low tack tape. I'm just going to flip it over and place my die into the centre of that hole there. Take that other piece of tape and place that there as well. So I've now just stuck that in the centre of there. Okay, so that's that. And then what I'm going to do with that, I'm actually going to die cut that as well. And by doing these two die cuts out of these two pieces that we've cut for the front, it means that we're not actually wasting any sheets of the card. Okay, so that is that bit. Okay, And then we're going to take that will be stuck on there, which I will do a bit later. That will be stuck onto the card, and we'll do that a little bit later, but just to show you that. And then this little piece here, now I can decide to put the stripes either that way or that way on design. I think I could change it so it's on that way of the design. So if anybody does have any questions, I'm going to leave this card to the side so people can see it as I'm stamping. Move that mouse out of the way a bit, give us a bit more room there. I'm going to place that on my mat there, and I'm now going to take the coin stamp. When you peel it off the first time, just be careful, but after the first time you'll be fine. Okay, and I'm going to place that directly into that circle. Get my head in the shot a little bit, sorry, you can see my bold bits. And I'm going to pick that up. Okay, and that was there. Lovely. Thought it was. There we go. That's in the centre there. Okay, so there's my stripes. There's my stamp. So then I'm going to take my VersaFine, so that's my VersaFine. You can use VersaFine Clear as well. You can use archival, you can use any sort of black really. And I'm just inking up around, and I'm just skirting the centre part because I don't want any ink on that. Okay, that's inked up, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring that over and put pressure all the way around. Because I've got the magnet in the centre holding, I'm just going to put a little bit more pressure just around that little edge, because I want to make sure it picks up everything before I lift it. And then when I do that, still a little bit there, so bring it back down, push that down, and that's marvellous. I'm happy with that. Okay, so you can see now it's in there, and that's lovely. Okay, now to clean my stamp, remove my magnet. I tend to use, for my big stamps, I tend to use the Crafts 2 stamp cleaner, and it's only water sprayed onto this. I'm just rubbing it around my stamp, and that will clear the ink off. And I just take an old tea towel and I just dry the stamp as well. Hi Mel. How are you today? Hope you're all okay. And now I'm going to put that back onto its carrier sheet. So always look after your stamps, and your stamps will last you a long time. Okay, so now I've stamped the coin. I'm sorry if it keeps going in and out when I put my hands in. I've actually stamped that, but I want to emboss it as well. So because it's VersaFine, they will stay wetter for longer, the inks. So what I'm going to do is put some clear embossing powder just over the top of that ink. can see it looks a bit paler at the moment, and that's because we've got the powder on there now. Pick up a bit if you missed, and then we pop that to the side and pick up the powder and pop that back in his pot. And then I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to heat emboss that. So I'm just getting this hot before I start, and because it's on Phil's papers, it's a bit thinner, so I can heat it from underneath and watch it go. So you can see it then, it'll start getting black instead of the grey. I'm hoping you see that. Yes, you can see that lovely. I'm just moving it around. I'm just heat embossing that. So wait for the area you're doing to become shiny, and then just move it along as you go in. And just be careful of your fingers. Is it your first time now? Well, I hope you enjoy it today. And welcome to Valley Craft Live videos. So if it is your first time now, you've missed the other 33. But you can go to our website or to our Facebook and click on videos, and you can watch them from there. Or you can go to our YouTube channel, Valley Craft YouTube, and all of the videos are on there as well. So you can catch up with what we've done on all our lives. I'm just heating her around, just the centre bit, and that's that. Pop that out of the way. So as you can see then, you can see that, but it's a lovely little shine on that little, yeah, you can see that. Yeah, so you can see the shine on the black then. Okay, so with the card you can see there's this circle here. You got the outer circle first and the inner circle, which is that one piece which we've actually taken from the bit for the front cover. And then I've taken the piece that I've taken out of the front cover bit, like that, and that one was out of that, and I've stamped on there and heat embossed. So this outer circle here on this one is actually going to be this one, so I'm going to need to cut that. And to do that, I just need to take a die that will fit nicely into that area, and I'll show you where I've stuck it so you can see. So if I bring it up to there, you can just see the inner circle on the stamp and the dies just around it, so it's nice and even. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that one out of there, and I'll do that now. So again, these were the Craft 2 dies, and they're the nesting dies. So when I take that off there, I've now got that outer circle there, and I've got that one to use on another card. Okay, which I could cut the center out, or I could put a sentiment in the middle there. So I'm going to pop that to the side. because I'm only using the one, okay, which will fit in there. And then with this one and a slightly smaller die, like that, I'm going to take, so I have prepared the white one. So I've got a white one here, and I've stamped the same coin stamp, and I've heat embossed it. So a couple of things I've just done ahead of time. I'm just going to place that on so you can see the outer circle again. And while we're still on there, I'm going to place the smaller one as well, which will just cut, and I will show them up to the camera now as well. So this one is just within the circle like we did on the blue one, and then this one is literally in between the two circles. It's in the inside, so you can really match them up well. And I'm just going to cut that one. So now we've cut that, the outer ring like this is actually going to be a spare one. So the piece I had left from earlier on, I could do a reverse card and actually place that in the centre and cut the centre out, and that could be a different card again, but that's free. So that's that die finished with. And then if I take this one out, it leaves me with this nice little ring like that. Okay, and that will fit into the centre of that one. So it's just a little different to the main card, where I used the blue for both rings. I've actually put a little bit of a white ring in that this time, just to add a little bit of extra white to the card. Okay, so this is it. You can change your cards up a bit just by doing different layers. Okay, and that piece has already got nice circles around the edge, so that can be used for a sentiment or something on a later date as well. So nothing goes to waste. Okay, so I've now got them. So now I'm going to place that to the side, and you can see that they would all fit into the card just like that. Okay, and I will fit all this together when we come to the end. So our next stage is to cut a Christmas tree, some Christmas trees. I've prepared 3 already, but I thought I would show you how I've done that as well. So I'll show you the 3 I've already done. So that's the 1, that's the 2, and it's got a lovely little sparkle on it. So if I would just wiggle them, you can actually just see the glitter just catching on them. Just see wiggling, sparkling. There we are. And I'll show you my little pot of that in a minute. Okay, so in preparation for the colouring, I have actually stamped part of the nutcracker, and I've literally just cut him above the knees. Stamped him above the knees because I only need the top half of him. Okay, I've also stamped the little drum which he's going to be holding, and these have been stamped heat embossed as well with the clear embossing powder on over the black ink. And then also I have cut these dies, which are berry branches. I've cut 4 of them. I've cut one of each of the dies, so you've got 2 large, 2 small, 2 small ones, one goes left, one goes right, and the big ones, one goes left, one goes right. So I've done them in advance. So that's the 3 that I've added glitter to. So nice little red sparkly glitter. but I will show you on the last one how I did that as well, because it's easier to do it before you put it on the card. Okay, so I've done that. So what I need to do, and that was the best. So what I need to do now is to cut another tree. I need to stamp and cut another tree. So the tree set is snowy and fir trees. So you've got quite big sets in here. So the largest tree is almost A5 high. And then we've got a medium tree and a small tree. And then we've got some snowballs, a snowman, and some icicles, or you could use them for grass if you stamp them in green as well. So I've done 2 large medium trees and I've done 1 small, but I need to do another small. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well. And I'm using this on the Film Martin paper that we had a little sample of to try. So I'd like to say thank you to Phil and them at Sentimentally Yours for the couple of sheets you sent of that, so it's to try it. And I can see us buying some of this with our next order. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the Versamark again. Because it's a smaller image, I'm just going to use the block. Just going to use a stamping block. I'm going to stamp that. Go over, squeeze it in. So that's been stamped. Because I've stamped it with this fine, I don't have to worry about putting the powder on too quickly, but I just need to clean that stamp now. So I'm just going to rub it on the wet side of the sponge, which is the deeper side, and then rub it onto the shallow side there to dry it. And I just give it a quick wipe with the tea towel, and that's my stamp nice and clean again. And I replace that back in the bag where it belongs. And now I've done that, I can then take my powder, my stamped image, and my powder. That's okay. How are you, Mum? Okay? Hope you are okay, and I hope the weather's quite nice with you as well. So Mel is new to us today. So where is Mel from? We're actually based in Caerphilly, Mel. We have somebody from Salisbury, Newbridge. Because all I'm doing is just heat embossing the clear powder over the black. So that's that done, and then that's all I do is take big scissors and cut that away, and then I'm going to fussy cut that. Now some people prefer to use a big scissors, some people like to use a small scissors. I'll use any sort of scissors, but for this one I'm just going to use my little tweezer scissors. Derbyshire, oh lovely. So what's the weather like up in Derbyshire with you, Mel? Is it sunny or stormy? That's all I'm doing. I'm just wiggling my paper, wiggling my scissors, going in and out, not worrying about the little white lines around, leaving a little bit of white. Just roughly go with the shape of the tree. Don't think I've ever been to Derbyshire. So all I'm doing is just fussy cut, what they call fussy cutting. Camera, so I'm just wiggling around with little fussy scissors like this. You can even use your parchment scissors as long as you're gentle not to bend your tips of your scissors. They'll be nice and fine and sharp. So what I'm going to do is just take that point off the top of it. So as you can see, ooh, nice and sunny here. It's a bit sunny here, but a little bit windy at the moment as well. So I think we're due for another little storm or shower. So as you can see, there's still a little bit of white around the edge, but it doesn't look too bad at all. Okay, so that's that. So as per the other three, I'm gonna now colour them as well. And I did the colouring with Phil Martin's Sentimentally Yours set 3 watercolour brushes. They are stunning. There's 24 colours all in all. You get 2 watercolour brushes as well, which are refillable with water. One fine one and a flat one. Okay. And I'm actually going to use the bluey green from this side, and then there's a light bluey green from that side, which are quite similar. One of them's more blue, one of them's more green, and then I'm going to take a little bit of the brown as well, which is the sort of lighter brown out of all of them. And yeah. And I'm going to take the lid off so I'm using the flat little brush there today, so you can see it there. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. Put a little bit of my brown down the left hand side of the trunk, take my wet brush and actually drag the colour over so it's got a bit of a shade, and literally that's all you need to do with that. That's your brown done. Okay, so you can see that's the brown just on the tip trunk there. And then I'm going to bring this up closer, so I'm just going to make sure which one is the green and which one is the blue, because the one that's got more of a blue I've used for the darker area, and the one that's got a bit more of a green I've used for the lighter. So the first one I used was got a bit more of the blue, and you can just see that there. So it's good doing just a little swatch of your colours when you get them. Okay, so I'm using the bit that's got blue, that's more blue. Yep. And just wait for the camera to come up to that. Make sure it's focusing. So where you've got the black underneath the branches here, I'm actually going to go up the side of the petal there, of the leaf, along that edge there. This is with the bluer one, so just roughly underneath where the darker bits are. What have I done before, Deborah? Is this colouring or the watercolours or? Okay, and that's all I'm going to do. It looks quite green when you first put it down, but then as it dries it goes a little bit more blue. So I'm just going around the little tiny bits there. Okay, I just make that dark, and then with the lighter colour, which is more the greeny colour, I'm actually going to just go in and colour all the rest of the branches. So some of these branches are snow, so I'm just keeping away from them. And I'm not worried about going over the blue bits because they'll blend those two colours together. Try and keep in short as well. Okay, so you can see now that it's a bit blue and a little bit green. And I'm actually going to add just a little bit more of the bluey one into it. And that is along the edges again, underneath the dark area. And by going over again, it's just going to darken the colour just a little bit more. And they've got such a fine tip on these, you can really be precise. So I'm not being too fussy with this one as well. It's literally just getting some colour down. And then I've done that tree there. I'll keep those colours out actually, because I am going to be colouring the drum as well, and the boy later. So now I've coloured that, okay, I'm going to give it a bit of a quick blast. Just a quick blast, because I want the watercolours to dry. And this card doesn't seem to break up at all with the watercolours, even when you added some water to it. And I'll be adding more water now to the Nutcracker boy. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to shape. So to shape my trees, I take a back end of an handle of a spoon, and I rub my thumb and the spoon across the back, coming off to the side. You just be careful that you don't tear. And you can see then there's quite a bit of a curve on that there, and it looks lovely. Okay, so that's why all my other trees are a little curved as well. And then to add the glitter, so I'm just going to close the watercolours at the moment, and I'm going to grab the glitters. So like I said, I've got a nice little hot glitter. Just bring that in. So just a nice little pot, you know. Oh, the cutting out, yeah, the fussy cutting is not too bad to do. You just got to be aware that's all, that it can be a little bit fussy. And all I'm going to do is just take my tweezers and hold the brown area of the trunk. Okay, I'm going to take my original high tack glue. If you've got the Phil's glue or couldn't shimmer or anything like that, I'm just going to start the glue going out, and where it's got the little snow showing on the trees, I just move my glue, put in little dots. I'll show you the glue now. So you can see then I've put all the little bits of white glue on there. And you can either dip that in, or you can take a spoon and you can sprinkle a little bit of your glitter on there. Okay, and then flip it over and tap the back. Okay, and then you end up with a lovely little sparkle. And when the glue dries, the glue will be clear, and that's all you will see then is your sparkle from your glitter. Okay, and I'll actually put that now back to the back so it can dry with the others that I did earlier. And while we've got this while we're doing some glittering, I will also take the little sheet there, and the last of these little pieces here. And what I'm going to use is a Sticks to 2-in-1 glue pen. It's a rollerball one. So Sticks to 2-in-1 glue pen, rolling ball. If you happen to have one of the old versions, which is just 2-in-1 glue pen, quickie glue pens, you can use any of those, but this one does flow a lot, seems to flow a lot easier because it's got the roller ball on the end. And that's all I'm going to do. The glue goes down blue, so I'll show you them now. I'm just pushing it down. I don't know if you can just see that there's just a little bit of blue on the tips of them. Okay, so I'm just going to go over all of those little. So notice I'm going up one side first. I'm just doing a dot, and they don't have to be centered. Nothing in nature is perfect. Plants will always have variations. Okay, so I've just done all that. And with this 2-in-1 glue pen, the Sticks 2-in-1, once you pull it out, when you pull the lid off, it actually forms a suction that actually pulls them out. Hi Alison, how are you? And then what I'm going to do with that then is take another little pot of glitter. Which is to Crafts Red one. I know we are looking at getting different glitters in different size pots. And so what I'm going to do is just pour that over the end of that and tap that, and then you end up with a lovely little bit of sparkly red glitter on each of those dots, so it looks like little berries. Okay, and I just put that to the side. So I just invested in a lot of glitter because I do a lot of 3D Christmas things. So I've got green, gold, blue, no, I've got iridescent, green, silver, gold and the red in this one. And it is just a big pot. Big pot. Very quick. So I've got all them. So they're lovely. So now we've got our 4 Christmas trees. And this one is still drying. So pop them to the side. We've got our 4 berries, 2 small, 2 large, which we've done that. We've already cut most of our base card and our first layers. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is actually colour the little boy, the little nutcracker boy and his drum. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to colour him first and the drum. I'm going to force dry it with a heat gun, and then I'll fussy cut around him, but I'll show you how I'm going to cut away his arms so that they're looser from the body. Okay, so for the colours on there again, I did actually use the same watercolour sets, and we do still have some of these. That's okay, Alison. That's why we always record these. It'll always be on Facebook later, or it'll be on YouTube for you to watch a bit later as well. Okay, so I'm now going to colour the boy. Okay, the nutcracker. And what I will do, I will bring it up to you as well, so you can see where I put the shadows. But Trudy always puts darker areas and dots where it needs to be. Okay, but I'll show you that in a minute. I'll just come down, put it where I want it. I'm just going to do the trousers, so I'm coming down there, a little bit down the middle, underneath there. Okay, I'm also going to put a little bit on the hat as well, all the way to the left and all the way to the right, and then shade that out. So let's show you where that is, and then I can show you how to draw out the colour. So that's where I've added the colour. Okay, and I've taken the brush, and that's all you do, just touch that colour and it'll all start to move around leather. And then what you end up with then, you end up with your darker areas where you want your darker areas. Could I use the finer brush? But I'm quite happy with this one. Okay. The watercolour really does move well on the Sentimentally Yours card, so I think we'll definitely will be investing in some of this card. So if somebody wants a smoother watercolour card, then we should have the two options within the shop. That's what I'm doing, I'm just dragging it down like that, so I just keep my light and dark, and I'm just going to leave that to what it needs to do now to sort of dry. Okay, but of course got the hat. So I'm just going to move the colour, move into the middle. I'm not worried about going outside the lines at this point of time as well. Okay. And then with the waste that's on your mat, your brush, you just clean it off. And then if you want to lighten a little bit down the middle here, you just go back with your watercolour brush. Sorry, I'm just off camera there. Just go back down there and that'll lighten that bit up. Okay, so that's the red. I will give that a quick blast. In fact, I'll just turn my heat gun on. Because it's been heat embossed, I'm literally just wafting quickly, so I don't want the embossing powder to be affected. Again. Okay. And then with the greens then that I used, so I could take any of the colours, the bluey green or the greeny green, and I can start adding some colours into. So I'll do his little shoulder pads there. Going to do his little tails coming from underneath the jacket there in green. Do the little arm pieces there. And come down the side there. Okay. And then I'm just going to go in between the stripes there as well. I don't want to colour everything, I want to keep some white in the image as well. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give that a quick blast because I want to add a little bit of shadow onto that really blue. Get that lead out of the way. And I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow by going just either side I just leave it alone because it's such a small area, then it'll actually look a little bit darker just down those little areas. So we look more curved, and then down that side there, and down that side there. Okay, and then with the drum, I'm going to take the one colour to the top part of the drum. I'm going to take the other colour, oops, flip that over, and do the triangle at the bottom. So this one I'm putting on at the moment, it's going down green, but it's drying more blue, so this is the bluey one. And then the one on the top of the drum, it's actually more of a green, so I'm just going to add a little bit more shading in there. And then to bring the red into the drum as well, the point is so good on these brushes. Let me show you. The point is so good that you can get right in with the points and colour the finest of areas. Okay. That bit, and I'm going to do the bit along the bottom as well, leaving the little buttons on it white. So that is now my little drummer, little nutcracker and his little drum, and then we need to cut out the boy. Pop the watercolour brush back in there, pop the greens back into the colours there, and then close up that. And it's got 3 locks on these cases, so they'll never drop out. They've got 2 on the side there, and then they've got like a hanging one there which also clicks down as well, and they're sturdy. We have got some of the 3 set left, and we're just waiting for the 4th to be released so that we can invest in them as well. Okay, so now I've got the boy all done and his drum done, and pop the drum to the side a little bit, and then I'm going to take my little scissors and snip into him as well. Okay, so first things first, round the bottom, because I know he's going to be fitted into the circly part down there. I'm going to go up the body and go around everything. So keeping the fingers in. Oh, I've put those watercolours away and I haven't coloured the skin yet. So I need to make sure I watercolour the skin as well. So I'll show you that now. So set 3 has got some good skin tones in. So again, with this one, I'm being a bit more fussy. I'm going more to the edge of the line, which is why I wasn't worried about going over the edge when I was watercolouring. Again, don't be afraid. Just cut him off lovely there. Now if you have got a brother scan and cut, you could probably stamp this cut in. You could stamp it, colour it, and then pop him on your brother scan and cut, and actually cut him out. You can actually say to leave a 1 mil, half a mil border around it. Thank you, Elizabeth. It's very kind of you. It is a lovely card. This sample will actually be going into the shop tomorrow as well, so it'll be available to see firsthand. Now I need to separate the hands away from his body and take these 2 little white bits out from under there. So I'm going to come up closer to the camera and show you how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to start with this hand. I'm going to come down and just cut around his fingers. So really careful cutting on this one, but it's not too bad. Okay, it's not drastic. Around the thumb, come up the arm, side of the arm there, up to where it meets there, and then you can just go up the opposite side there, and then a little white bit will drop off from the middle. And it doesn't matter if you get a little bit of white bit underneath the arms that you've missed, but as you can see now, he can wave to you. Hi everyone. They're tweezer scissors, but I think they were old decoupage ones. There are other tweezer ones which are slightly bigger than we do, but they would do as well. You can use decoupage scissors as well, which we do, which I think when I looked yesterday, I think they were about £2.50, I think, for decoupage scissors. Very, very fine pointy scissors, right to the point, right to the edge of the scissors. They are tweezer ones. We've got decoupage ones which have got little rings, but to be honest, I've got a few little scissors. Any of them will do. I've got hair snipping scissors. I've got, got all sorts of different ones. As long as they go cut to the point, you'll be okay, Susan. I know I've had those a long time because I used to do a bit of decoupage years ago, so I used to cut them out with that. So now I've got his arms free, so he's hands free now. Okay, I can actually shape him now, but before I shape him I want to colour his skin. So the colour I actually used on the skin yesterday when I did this sample was the peachier one from all the sort of yellows that are there. And again, just with a watercolour brush and the colour, you'll see that it's just puts like a little nice little colour down. This is a nice colour for her skin. You can go back into the cheeks, make them a bit more rosy as well. So just a nice colour. And if you just want to lighten that down just a fraction, take your watercolour brush and you just go over that, and that'll just water it down just a little bit so it'll spread just a little bit more and soften. Okay. And then always wash your brush. And then that's the Nutcracker coloured. So now I want to just quickly blast that because I've wet him, just to make sure he's fine. And I'm going to show you how I shape him then again as well. So how I shape him again, you can use a pen, a pencil, as long as it's got no ridges in the body, and you can roll it around and it gives him a curved shape. You can also do the body. I just wiggle it back and forth around the pen. And that gives him a bit more shape. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to going to fold sort of the bit up the arms there, so through the underarm, and then I'm just going to roll down the arm like that, so it puts a little bit of a bend in his arm. And you can see then that he's got a little bit more shape to him, and you can bring his arms forward and stuff like that. So when we come to doing the drums, putting the drum in, he'll be able to put his hands on his drum. Oh, Gavin thinks they were woodweight tweezer scissors, but not sure if you can still get them. Yeah, I think they were woodweight because we used to do a lot of woodweight to begin with. And of course woodweight was taken over a little while back. But there are all sorts of tweezer scissors out there, but they are rather nice, them ones. But I have had them in years. Okay, so now you can see, and in fact if you look at that, the colour have come up a little bit more vibrant on Phil's card to what I've used on mine, and in fact my card feels a little bit rough because I actually use Super Smooth, so our Super Smooth doesn't really take water very well. But there we are. So Phil Martin's watercolour is fantastic, so we will be getting some of that in. Okay, so part of assembly now, which is the part I really like. So we've got our boy, we have our large circle, we've got our big frame. Yeah, they were woodweight on there, weren't they? I'm not sure if you actually had a paint on it, didn't you, when they started? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take, so I've got everything in front of me now that I need to start to do. So I'm going to take this card, which is my folded A4 card. I'm making sure the larger side is to the front. Going to take my all-purpose collage. Just going to go around the edge a little bit, not too close because I don't want it to ooze out. I'm going to place that down onto the front of my card. Now all-purpose on mirror card is a bit of a nightmare, but on the matte mirror it seems to be not too bad. On the mirror sometimes you can see the lines through where the glue is so cold, where it's alcohol based, but on this one you can see it's lovely, and we won't be seeing the circle at all in a bit. Then I'm going to take the Phil's paper, and I am actually going to take the high tack on this one, just a little bit, and I'll explain why I've used a different glue. So again, you could use Phil's on this one. I'm not putting too much around, I'm just putting a tiny amount on. And the reason I'm using the high tack, which is a PVA, is because when I stuck the paper on the back of this one, when I folded up this morning to curve it a bit, because obviously I heard crack and crack, and because it's a paper up against something that's got a mirror coating, it wouldn't take to it, it just came away. So that is why I've used that. Okay, so that is now my start of my base card, and you can't see any lines at all where the glue has gone down on this card either, so it's quite a good glue as long as you don't put too much. Right, so then I'm going to take my circle, which we cut out of there, and the reason I had to cut this out was because I wanted it to go on top of the colour piece that's there. And I'm going to place that on there. So now I haven't wasted any of that card at all. Okay, I haven't had to take another piece just to get that circle out of. Okay. And then I want to stick this white piece down flat. Okay. So what I'm going to do, because it's going onto the mirror, I'm going to use my tacky. Yeah, so Donna's my sister Susan, so Donna's into crafting as well, and Donna used to work for Valley Craft at the beginning as well, so it's always quite nice. So I'm just going to make sure my stripes are going that way instead of that way on this piece. I'm going to slot this into the center of that piece there, so I know it's actually central to that circle there. And then I will lift this one out, and then I know that is in place. So you can now see the difference between that one and that one, because on this one I kept the blue piece with inside, so I put that in yellow in the white there. So I just wanted it to have a little bit more of a difference. Thank you, Mel. Right, thank you, Gavin. Are they the other decoupage ones, not the tweezer ones? Right. So now for this one, I actually need to place my foam pads onto this. But before I do place my foam pads, I want to make sure my lines are going that way. And I'm going to turn it over. And I know that that is definitely the bottom bit there. Then I'm going to take a little bit of my glue. And I'm actually going to stick the arms of the nutcracker over the circle, so underneath, so you can see he's going under. I'm sticking his body part just under there, so you can see why I cut him at a little bit of a curve as well. And now he sits in there nicely. Okay, but because he's now stuck there, it means now I can put my foam pads all the way around. You can use foam tape, you can use foam pads, that's entirely up to you. I'm going to use foam pads, so I get a big roll of these and then I just cut them down. Cut them in half, and they're the right width then. And they've got a lifty area on both sides of these, so it is a nice way of using them. So there. I'm taking them quite close so that we don't get any sagging with the roll. I put one dead center of the body of that one. I'm going to start going around the opposite way. I like it, Al. You can change whatever colour you want. You know, you can change the boy into a different colour and actually use all sorts of different little areas. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to peel off all the back ends of these. So they're all peeled off. But I also need to add my little berry branches onto this as well. Okay, so I'm going to take the big berry branch. As you can see, there's 3 branches, 4 branches, sort of 5 branches one side and 5 branches the other side. And this is the one that's turning to the left, to the right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to place 3 of those underneath. You can put them on top. In fact, let's do 2 Let's do that one this time. I'm just going to stick that onto there. So you just stick them underneath so they stick to those foam pads. Now I'm going to take the opposite side one and I'm going to do the same over that side. I'm going to put the first two underneath. Try and balance them out so they look the same either side. And then bring that over so that we can stick that onto the foam pads. So now we've got those two. So you can see that's starting to come on now. Okay, so the foam pads give you a nice little base to work with really. And then I'm going to take the left one again here. I'm going to come across the middle of it and add that there. I'm going to take the other one and stick that there. So now I've got all my little branches there. So I've got all my little branches all there now. Okay. And before I fit them down, because it's going on to mirror, I could use this down. So I can put this glue on the back of my foam pads, and what this will do, it'll make sure that I've got a bit of wiggle room. So if it goes down the wrong place, I can move it a little bit. And also, because I want the body of the boy to, the nutcracker to stay up, I'm actually going to use some 3D glue gel. I'm going to put quite a dollop behind his head, quite a dollop behind his body, and quite a dollop behind there as well. Okay, a little bit over his shoulder. Okay, so you can see then I've got all this glue around there, and I'll put the lid back on there once I finish putting this down. So I like to stand up and look down over where I'm going to be putting it. And I like the fact that it's actually hanging over the card as well, which is what I wanted to do in the other one, but I didn't put it right. And I'm able to push that a little bit because of the wet glue that's underneath it. And I can push them down, and then the glue will actually take underneath him, so you can see he's got plenty of dimension, and we've got a little bit of movement with the branches. Okay, so he's now there. Put a little bend in his arm there. Okay, and then I want to pump his little drum on as well. So with his little drum, I'm going to put a dollop of 3D glue gel, so a nice little raised bump. Push it under his arms and let it stand there a bit. I'm going to take his hand like that. Because his finger and everything is actually there, I could actually put his finger and his hand, could slot it into his thumb and hand there, but I won't bother doing that because I'd have to cut him a bit more. So I'm just going to put his drum in underneath his arms like that, his hands like that. Get a bit of height. And then I just put a little bit of 3D glue gel at the back of his hand there. Bring it down onto the drum. And a little bit of 3D glue gel on the back of that hand, and bring that down onto the drum. If you do that, then his drum will actually stay upright there, and his hands will stay on there as well. Right, so there we are. So that is our little nutcracker boy on there, and I much prefer it with a little bit of white in the centre. as opposed to that one all being blue. It just gives it that extra little something. See the difference? Yeah, there is a bigger drum. You could put the bigger drum on, and I mean there is a bigger drum. So that is the small drum and that is the big drum. So of course the big drum would have been huge. Could you use pearl drops on the berries? You could, Elizabeth. Could use pearl drops. You could even put dab them with Versamark and put red glitter embossing powder down. So yeah, you can do all that. But yes, pearl drops definitely. I know Gavin's mum doesn't call it pearl drops. She's got a special name for them. So that's that. I'm going to leave that there, because what we need to do now is sort out the trees. Okay. Maybe some of the other characters. Yes, you can put different characters in there. I know there was an angel, there was all sorts of ones. There's even the summer collection that have come out. So you can put any of the girls and boys from there. Make this an Art Deco one and put an Art Deco lady in there and put some Art Deco corners on there. So, you know, you can change it around and make all sorts of different cards from it. Okay. So, I've got some trees, which I've pre-done. I showed you how to do the little one. So I've got 2 large ones and I've got 2 small ones. And we'll just be a little bit more careful with the last one I've done, because that glue still a little wettish on that one. And I'm going to need some 3D glue gel. Yes, Gavin, she calls them snot drops. And if I want some dimension on things, I just put a nice big dollop of 3D glue gel. This could be pin flake glue as well. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the tree a little bit further up on this one, because I quite like it up there. Okay. And then I'm going to put quite a bit on the big tree, so I'm trying to stay in shot as well. And I think my 3D glue gel is going to run out of my tube in a minute, so I'm going to show you how to reload your tube as well. Little hints and tips. So there we are. So that's all you do. When you push your tree down, you just look under, make sure that all your 3 dollops have actually touched your card underneath there. Alright. So just make sure it does show underneath. It's touching your card, and then you know then it's not going to come away at all when that dries. So I am starting to run out, but I will keep going at the moment until I completely run out, because it's easier to fill it when it's completely full, or completely empty I should say. I think I'm going to put this one a little bit lower to give it a bit more of a forestry look. So that's a bit lower. And then I need to refill my Kalal all-purpose 3D glue gel. So I do, your lid is off, you removed your lid, you got your tube, and you remove your barrel. Okay, I would put your barrel down just the end of it, just on a little bit of paper, just in case there's a bit of glue on there. And when you buy a box with the Kalal 3D set Kalal kit, you get a key, you get a bigger lid to go directly onto the tube, and I think there's another bit as well, so that little yellow bit will fit on the end of there as well, but I like to leave it in its tube. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Now if you want to, you can use the key, and this is what the key is for. It's for turning in there. Got to get it in right. Bring it down beyond the holes, and then when you twist that, it'll help you to get every part of your glue out of there. So to get your glue out of your pot into your tube, you slot your tube onto the end like that, and just squeeze your tube. Make sure it stays there. I tend to fill it about 2/3 of the way. You could see that filling up in the camera. And then I just rub it across like that. And then I bring the key up, and before I put the lid back on, I make sure there's a little bit sticking out. So you can just see there's a little nodule bit sticking out there, and I just put the lid back on while it's being held there. And what that does is, if it dries in the lid, you can just pull that little bung out and you can continue to carry on with that. But once you've done that, you have to remove the key so you can put it back in the box, and then you can pop that back in there. And you get a syringe every time you buy a box with a key and with all the bits. And then you push that in, and then you're ready to go. Okay, so we're going to do this big tree now. Thank you, Gavin. So I'm really putting big dollops there because I know it's going on top of the tree there. And as long as you keep your syringe in a different place. Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, there's definitely a choice with lots of variations with this one. And I put that tree around the same level as the other large one over there. So I'm just going to pop that down. So the more your tree wants to be lifted, you've got to make sure you add a lot more 3D glue gel. Okay. And again, with your 3D glue gel, before you put your little yellow pot on the top, make sure you squeeze out a little bit and then put the lid on top like that. And then if that dries, you'll be able to pull that bung out and you can keep going. Right, so we've got that far, but now we need to do the sentiment that's going to go across the front. And I could add pearls into all the snowflakes if I wanted to. And then I also need to do the inside and show you that as well, because that is the inside of that one. So that's that piece, and that's that. So slight variation. The berries are further out. I've got a white circle in there instead of all blue, and the trees are a little bit more vibrant here than they are in that one, and I've put them in slightly different places. So let's do the next bit. Okay, so I'm going to pop this one out of the way a minute. I'm going to bring in some card, and I need to do the little sentiment this year. Okay, so to do that little sentiment, I want to take a piece of this little stuff. So if you haven't got another bit of this and you only got one sheet of this, you've already used half a sheet for there, and you're going to use the other half for inside. So if you have got a problem with this and you haven't got another sheet, is the card 5x7? It's A5, which is, just grab my ruler, Stephanie, and I shall let you know. So the card, so inches, it is just under 6, so it's 5 3/4, I think, and it is 8 2/8. So it's 8 2/8, by 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eighths. Yeah, the white circle does make it look different, doesn't it? Draws the eye in. Yes, yeah, it does actually. I do like the white circle. I'm glad I changed it now. But so if you haven't got another sheet of the card you got, to save you having to go out and buy another sheet to do just the matte layer for the sentiment, then, you know, just gut the piece, what we call gutting it. All right, so you take, because we're going to be taking some of the, we're going to be stamping sentiment in the middle, what we do, we just take a centre bit out of there. Okay, so all I'm going to do is take a bit of a die, but we'll cut these down to size first. So these, for the middle of your card, and I am sorry for people who do prefer inches, I've always worked in centimetres, so it's always been a bit of a nightmare for people. So I've cut my other piece to 14 centimetres wide. So that's 14 by 20 and a half. Okay. And then my stripe piece I'm cut into 13 and a half centimetres. And the little strips that come off you can keep for a little banner on your card. By 20 centimetres. Which will just matte and layer nicely in the middle of there. Okay, so that matte layer is lovely. And then because we know we're going to be putting a white sheet on the middle of this, and we're going to put a sentiment in the middle, I can actually take the middle part out of there and I will have enough for a sentiment. So that is my next bit. So I'm going to take my low tack tape, cut that out of there. So if you need another piece and you know you're putting a sentiment in the middle, people are not going to be writing on that centerpiece. So you can actually do that. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that through my Grand Caliber. I have got a Gemini Junior, but it's a bit noisy. And the Grand Caliber is just simple for the little bits. You know, and if you have got a nice little card that you want to use over and over again, so you know that's not going to waste now. I haven't got to take another piece to cut that out of for the sentiment. Okay, so what I'm going to do is bring my card in. I won't be putting pressure on the front because I'm only putting pressure on the back. So I can bring that over and leave that like that. I can put my all-purpose collal on the back of this and pop that down into the middle of the card there, leaving a nice little white border. Boys of Valicraft, amazing. Oh, thank you, Donna. Yeah, they're all on YouTube. They're all on, all our lives are on YouTube. They're all on Facebook. You can get to them through our website as well. I moved because it's all-purpose collal. I can lift and put it back down, and that's the good thing with some wet glues, you can lift and put it back down. So phew. Take my piece of card from there, that'll fit on the top of that one, so that's nicely on there. So now what I need to do, and that actually came from underneath there, so you can see I haven't wasted it. So that's that. Put my berries back over, and I can put a little bit of glue underneath them if I don't want them to wave around so much as well. Okay, so that's that bit. Now I need to do a sentiment, and I need to do the verse bit for the center. So the verse, which I will do, has come from this set, which has got "Believe in the magic of Christmas, wishing you a season of gladness, a season of cheer, and to top it all off, a wonderful new year. May the Christmas season bring you special moments. Let the spirit of love gently fill our hearts and homes this season. Celebrate the season. May your days be merry and bright. We wish you a Merry Christmas." Okay. And these are the Crafter's Companion, "Believe in the Magic of Christmas," this one. But I think there's a few of these. And we literally only had these in yesterday as well. So these are now on our website. So I'm going to take one of them. May your days be merry and bright. I think I'm going to do that top one there, which is "Wish you a season of gladness." Okay, so I've got that stamp, and move that to the side because that's going to be for my sentiment. I'm just taking a piece of so it says 250 gram super smooth, and I need to just trim that. And because I did my centerpiece, the first piece was 14 by 20 and a half, the second piece was 13 and a half by 20, so I now need to go a little bit smaller, but I'm going to go a little bit more smaller. So I did 14, 13 and a half, and then I'm going to go 12 and a half, so I'm going to leave a little bit more on this one. So it's 12 and a half, and then that was 20, so I'll need to come down to 19. So that's going to be my centerpiece. And I'll just show you that inside the center there. And that'll fit in there lovely with a nice little border around all that as well. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to stamp this. And because it's quite a big sentiment, I'm actually going to take my Press to Impress. I'm not sure if we have any of these in the shop at the moment. Not sure. I'm going to place my stamp in the center. So remember, we cut that bit out of the center, and that's roughly about the same size. So now we know when we stamp this in the center and put it in the center of our card, it's not going to affect where we're writing as well. So it's always good to think about where you're cutting out your piece out of your thing that you want to use instead of using another sheet. And then I'm going to pick up the stamp, but after I pick up the stamp, I'm going to make sure there's lines on the front of here. I'm actually going to make sure that it's square, and that's pretty square actually, so I'm quite happy with that. And then I'm going to ink it up with the VersaFine. This could be VersaFine Clear, it could be any of your other little black inks. I'm going to stamp that. This is the first time I've stamped this sentiment, and that's come out absolutely lovely. I could heat emboss that if I want to, but I will just leave that to the side while we do the other bits. So I'll leave that there. Pretty quick with this, with some of these stamps. If you don't want to use a stamp cleaner, spritz it with water and give it a rub with a soft cloth or an old tea towel, and that's nice and clean. So that go over there. And then we need to do a sentiment to go on the front. So that was the verse from the inside that we just stamped. And then we want to do a sentiment. So I've got the Phil Martin Sentimentally Yours Ticket Tip-tastic Seasonals. And that's not easy to say. Yeah, I've got my teeth in as well. The border around the white is lovely. I've got one in stock at the moment, my favourite. That's nice. We do like to share things as well, so just may do season's greetings on this one. So I can tell you what sentiments are on here. It's Happy Christmas, Jingle All the Way, Christmas, Peace, Season's Greetings, 'Tis the Season, Joy, Merry Christmas, Peace on Earth, At, Merry and Bright, Let It Snow, Magic, Joy to the World, Blessings and Noel. So it's quite a few here, and these are negative stamping instead of positive stamping. And I said I was going to do season's greetings, didn't I? Season's greetings, that's the one. So I'm actually going to be stamping, and I will use the piece that Phil sent to us. I'll place my stamp down in that corner. And I'm going to be cutting around these. I've done that. So all I'm going to use this time is a watermark. So Versamark Watermark. Depends on what colour you want to do it, really. Okay. I'm just going to ink that up. Stamp that once, and I haven't bothered to. And do it twice just to see if that helps. I had a little bit of trouble with this yesterday. I'm not sure if it was the ink pad or the actual powders. Oh, ow. That's a finger pinch from the magnets. I'm just getting my red embossing powder. We'll see how it goes on today. Yeah, ouch. Did hurt too. Yeah, I think that's turned out better today than it did yesterday, so I'll be quite happy with that one. And I'm going to put the pot back on there, so I don't get it everywhere. I'm going to put that up there, and then I'll clean my stamp later, because you always need to clean your stamps after Versamark or Perfect Medium, because they will allow things to go a bit dodgy. You won't be able to stamp with that after. I'm going to heat up my gun, and then I'm putting it under my chin just to make sure it's hot enough. Also goes with a few ears. Well, what paper do you use to stamp on? So the paper I'm using with this one now, this sentiment at the moment, is the Sentimentally Yours, and I'm not sure if it's the cold press watercolor card or hot press watercolor card, but it's got like a milkier sort of look to it instead of a white sort of look to it. It's more creamy colour. I'm sure Gavin will comment on that when he sees it, about what card that is. But the verse that I did on the inside, I actually did with our 250 gram Super Smooth, and then all the images and all the trees and stuff like that, I actually used Sentimentally Yours watercolor card, whichever one this has been done on now. So when you're using a glittery embossing powder, be careful, don't tap off too much of the powder because it will, but I'll show you that one. It doesn't come out too bad this time. Versamark on your stamp, what do you use to clean them with? You can either use just water and clean it off, or if you've got a bit of a stamp cleaner, not an alcohol stamp cleaner, but just a normal stamp cleaner, you can use that. You can use a water wipe, not a baby wipe. Baby wipes are terrible for the environment. Non-recyclable, non-flushable, so they are awful and have been found in animals. So now I've got that there, I'm actually going to do a film art in as well. I'm going to cut it with my scissors right along the line, quite easy with the big scissors. So yeah, just water really, Donna. You can wash a Versamark off with. Perfect medium is a little bit more stickier, I would say. But I find the pad on the perfect medium tends to dissolve a little bit more than the Versamark one, because there's a different type of pad on it. So I've now got that sentiment, but now I need to matte and layer it onto the piece that I salvaged from the centre of the other one. So we got the same sort of colours coming on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take my high tack. Yeah, water's absolutely fine. The reason I'd say not to use an alcohol one though, an alcohol cleaner on it, like a nail varnish stuff or stuff like that, which you could, but you have to make sure then you wash your stamp with water straight after, because what the alcohol will do is eventually it'll start drying out your stamp and then it'll just break and stuff like that. So now I have my Season's Greetings, and it's on a nice little teal sort of matte and layer, and that's a glittery embossing powder, so that's the ones you've got to be careful of. Normal embossing powder you'll probably be fine, and I've still got more of that card that I can actually keep with my little pieces of my mirror card in the cupboard. And then because I'm going to bring this back in now, so all the finishing touches now. So we've got paper on the inside, so I can actually put my verse on with all purpose because it's paper to paper, and that'll work absolutely fine. Just gonna slide that up, slide it on, and you can see that's lovely on the inside there. I've got all my little berries there, and then with my sentiment I want to put it along the trees along the bottom here. Because I want to put them along the trees, it means there's a big gap underneath. So where would I fit it? So I'm going to fit it there and there where it touches the trees, and to make it easier for it to do that, I'm actually going to use the 3D glue gel again. Okay, and I'm just going to put a dollop of 3D glue gel on one end and 3D glue gel on the other end. Pull up, push a bit out before you put your lid back on, so it keeps it there, so you have a bung. And then just to centralize it and bring it down, and then we can just push that down and it'll just take nicely. I'm just going to make sure that is square, and it does allow you to move. There we are. So that's that done. So that is the card completed. So we have the original, which the berry branches are more pushed behind the circles. The colour, the watercolouring is lighter. I've stamped the sentiment, which is why it's darker. It is red as well, but I've actually stamped it with Versafine before I put the powder on, before I put the red embossing powder on, and then actually embossed it, so it becomes like a dark red then. Whereas on this one I've just used the Watermark Versamark on the white card, and I've just stamped that and done that. So that's that bit. And then the trees have been coloured exactly the same, but I've used the white circle in the centre instead of the green circle. So the sentiment in that one is Believe in the Magic of Christmas, and you can see that it's got the same backing papers and the same colour there. And then this one, it's got the same papers on the front and the same colours, and then it's got Wishing You a Season of Gladness. So that concludes our live for today. So as you can see, my glues are everywhere now, and that's the fun of crafting, is having everything everywhere and having to put it all away later and go, oh yeah, use that. So a slight variation on the way it's been laid out. The colours are a bit more vibrant on this one. The red is more vibrant, whereas this one's a bit darker and a bit lighter there. So yeah, so any questions before we leave the live? Thank you, Deborah. I do like this card. Thank you, Gavin. Do like that. Do prefer the one with the white circle though instead of the blue, because it does make it pop just that little bit more. Thank you for all the loves and likes as well, people. Any questions before I go? I think I'm going to need to buy the stamps and card. Well, the backing cards, the backing papers, they come in all sorts of different colours. So, and there's a few different ones as well. You can use normal watercolour card for watercolouring and stamping and heat embossing on, but we will be getting some of Phil's ones in because it's a little bit softer on the colour. It's not white in your face. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Dawn. And thank you, Beverly. Any questions quickly before I go? Want to know anything that I used that you didn't quite catch? Just turned in, we'll have to play catch up. Yes, catch up, Sarah, as soon as we stop the live now, within 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, it'll be able to be rewatched on Facebook. It'll then also be able, give it a few hours in, and we'll have it on YouTube along with the other 33 I think we've got on there now, showing all sorts of different things. So yeah, so do you want me to recap what I've used and give you the names of them? Yeah, so the sentiment on the front was Ticket Tape-tastic Seasonals. Okay, and that's Phil Martin stamps. And I have got the Season's Greetings to clean a bit later. I used the Nutcracker, which is designed by Trudy Howard for Sentimentally Yours. I used the Snowy and Fir trees. I used the 2 smaller trees, and that is a Trudy Howard design as well for Sentimentally Yours. I used the Sentiment Medallion Wrap Snowflakes, but there are numerous wraps. I think they did birthday ones in the beginning of the year, and this is one of the Christmas ones out of the 2. So this is the Snowflakes one, and that's by Phil Martin and that's Sentimentally Yours. I also used the Adornment Collection Berry Branches, which is a film art in Sentimentally Yours, and it's 4 dies in there, and all the dies now will actually come with a magnetic sheet in there for you to keep them on. So they was there, so I used all them. And what else did I use? Oh yes, the paper and card. So the one I used was Candy Christmas, Stars and Snow, and that was a Sentimentally Yours paper pack. They're on 190 gram. You get 40 sheets. I think it's 2 designs of each one, so that's 2 of the dots in reds, 2 of the stars in red, dots, stars, dots, stars, dots, stars, dots, stars. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and then you get 2 of each of them as well. Okay, so you get 40 sheets, 4 designs, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get 2 sheets of each colour. That's a premium 190 gram paper. It's not glossy, so it means you can ink over the top of it, you can stamp over the top of it, you can put it through your embossing folders, you can do all sorts of things on top of that. Okay, and there's a good few colours in there. Okay, and then I also used the large set of stamps, which was Believe in the Magic, which is the large set of stamps from Crafter's Companion, which we've got in now as well. And there's a few of them there as well. Okay. Yeah, the snowflake rounds was absolutely perfect for me, Sarah. I don't know why people are having problems. I'm wondering whether... I think maybe there was just it was either the odd one that came through manufacturing just that little bit off. Otherwise, sometimes it's down to sometimes if they're using the tonic distressings, it'll puddle a bit. Sometimes the tonic stamping press, like this one, because the lid comes off and turns around for different stamps, sometimes they don't have that on the right way. But yeah, stamped absolutely perfect for me every single time. All right, so again, thank you for joining us. That's the cards. I hope you enjoy them, and if you do buy these or offer us or buy anything from us and you make any cards similar to this, please share them to our Valley Crafters craft group, and that's where people can get some inspiration as well, and these photos will actually go on there now as well. Okay, so thank you everybody, bye.